These are 10 mistakes that first-time iPhone users make. The first mistake first-time iPhone users make is underestimating the amount of customization that you can have with iPhone. Coming from Android, you had the ability to do anything you wanted with your phone. You can even make it look like an iPhone, which I don't know why people did that. And I used to do it back in the day myself. iPhone had a history of literally zero customizations. The most you could do with your iPhone back in the day was get a SpongeBob case. But those days are no more. After Apple did their magic on some random iOS update, we now have widgets. I know Android has had widgets since the birth of dinosaurs, but to buy an iPhone and think that you can't customize it is a big mistake on your part. You can make your iPhone literally look any way you want, have custom widgets, custom icons, and custom, that's about it. Moving on from customization, a mistake that first-time iPhone users make is not using an MFI certified cable for your iPhone when you're charging it. Using the cable that came with your iPhone box is the best thing you can do for your phone's battery life, because if you use that cheapo cable you got from 7-Eleven, there's a chance that your phone can heat up when you're charging it at night, and in the end that can eventually ruin your battery life. Now I know that the iPhone charger that you get ends up looking like a dog chewed on it after a few months, but I guess that's the price you pay to keep your iPhone battery as good as possible. Next, we have something that I am guilty of doing myself, and that is killing application. I used to think that this would save battery life on the iPhone, but to my surprise it does the exact opposite. Doing some research, I found out that killing applications waste battery life because your phone would have to relaunch the entire app from scratch, which is too much work on your lazy battery. You know how they are. It's $100 million to replace that battery, so from now on, do not close out your apps. One thing that people don't realize you can do is copy text from photos. Back in 2018, I had a Galaxy S9, and when I switched over to iPhone a couple years later, I found this feature to be the most important feature that I wish I had on my Android a few years back. Copying text from photos is so useful when I want to steal whatever the teacher put on the board, and then when I get home to never look at it again. And it just works for anything and anywhere. And to do this, all you have to do is take a picture of anything with text, and then there will be a logo on the bottom of the picture which will highlight the text, and then you can do whatever you want with it. One thing that I noticed going from Android to Apple is the notifications. I hated them more on iPhone. One thing that I didn't know was that tons of useless iPhone notifications can take unnecessary battery life away from your iPhone. Shocking discovery. So what you need to do is go to settings, notifications, and then turn off notifications from apps that you actually don't use. Literally 80% of the notifications that I used to get were completely useless, and I just left it on to messages, mail, and anything that I think is really important. One feature that has saved my life many times is the trackpad feature. Sometimes autocorrect doesn't work the way I want it to, and I have to manually fix a mistake. So the keyboard trackpad feature lets me go a few words back easily and fix my mistake. This is the best iPhone feature that has ever existed, and to do it, just hold the space bar, and then once all the letters disappear to nowhere, you can move the text thingy like a mouse pointer and go and fix any word mistake. One feature that every new iPhone user has to get used to is the no back button. This leads us to the next mistake first-time iPhone users make, and that is not using the slide to go back feature. A ton of apps support this feature on an iPhone, and it saves a lot of time from finding small back buttons on the top left corner of every app. All you literally have to do is go to the left edge of the screen and swipe to the right. This is something that might need some getting used to for Android users. It did for me. Speaking of doing motions for features, here's another mistake that people make when getting an iPhone, and that is not using 3 fingers to copy and paste. You just pinch with 3 fingers, and then when you want to paste, you do this outward motion with the same 3 fingers. Now on paper, this is like the coolest thing ever, but in real life, your iPhone is gonna have you looking like an idiot doing all of these things just to copy and paste some words. See, me personally, I don't like the iPhone copy and paste feature, and that little menu that pops up really makes me mad. It's really small and very unintuitive. One thing that everyone does is take screenshots, but another thing that everyone also does is never delete those screenshots. I have so many screenshots on my phone, and I refuse to delete them because it's just too much work. But here's a mistake that people make, and that is when they take a screenshot, they do not click the copy and delete screenshot button. If you do that, it saves so much time because you can just paste the screenshot and it will never save to your phone, and then we'll just never forget about it. And finally, one thing that Android users pride themselves with is having a phone that they claim is not as fragile as an iPhone. iPhones are very fragile and way too expensive to break. At $1,100, my iPhone should come with caviar, and people for some reason just do not want to buy a case with their iPhones. I don't know why. I know that iPhones look cool and they feel premium, but please buy a case, even if it's the SpongeBob one that I mentioned earlier. If you guys enjoyed this video, let me know if you want more, because I don't really have a ton of videos on this channel.